Middlesex maintained their winning start of this summer by the narrowest of margins as they just held off a rampant Netherlands team at Lords, winning by just a single run. Peterborough won the toss and perhaps surprisingly decided to have a bowl first. The Dutch, with plenty of international experience in one-day cricket, if not 40-over cricket, have made an ideal start to this competition, having already beaten Yorkshire and Derbyshire. But they now came up against a Middlesex side brimming with confidence, having won every match they've taken part in so far this summer. And they were off to a flyer again, with Scott Newman and Dawid Malan playing superbly from the start. You often expect rampaging beginnings in this form of the game, and you often expect big shots, but these two simply timed the ball perfectly and placed it really well. Newman had hardly broken into a sweat by the time he'd reached his 50 with another exquisite drive through the offside. That was his 10th boundary from just 46 balls. A very large score looked on the cards as Newman and Malan took the total to 120 without loss, and we still weren't even at the halfway stage of the innings. The Netherlands got the much-needed breakthrough in the 19th over, by which time Newman had raced on to 73, just after hitting this, his 14th boundary. Malan was not going to be put off by that, and he was bringing out all the shots from his locker. On the way to his 50, which had taken 53 deliveries to reach. He'd been joined by Paul Sterling, and the two played some enterprising strokes. With plenty of wickets in hand, they could afford to take some risks and play some shots, the majority of which were coming off nicely. Sterling is a very handy player to have in this form of the game. He'd smashed 45 off 39 balls when he was out, but only because of a quite remarkable catch by Wesley Baresi. You really won't see many better than that. With 10 overs of the innings remaining, Middlesex had moved on to 208 for 2, and with Malan still going strongly, here hitting the only 6 of the innings, things were looking promising. Next ball, he tried to repeat the shot, but this time could only find the fielder on the rope. He was angry with himself, although his score of 90 was his best in this competition. The only batsman to really miss out was Gareth Berg, who was bowled by Boren after making 6, and he went with his side on 225 for 4 with 7 overs left. Middlesex had 2 new batsmen at the crease just when they didn't want that to happen, but Neil Dexter and Tom Scully were still able to find some boundaries late on as they put on 32 in 4.5 overs. Scully holed out to depart for 17 at 257 for 5, but what Middlesex may have lost with those wickets falling earlier, they regained when Ollie Rayner came to the crease. He produced shots such as this one and scored 21 from just the 9 balls he faced to give his team the ideal finish as they ended their 40 overs on 286 for 5, and those late runs from Rayner were to prove crucial. The Netherlands made a sluggish start to their reply, going at only 3 runs per over in the first 5, in spite of Baresi playing the odd shot or 2. His partner Eric Swazinski never got going at all and was then guilty of ignoring his partner and watching the ball instead when turning for a second. Sterling chose the right end, and thankfully for this commentator and for Middlesex, Swazinski was run out. That brought 2 of the more experienced Dutch players together, and they started to put bat to ball. Baresi has already scored well in this competition, while Tom Cooper plays his cricket for South Australia and is a class act. These two had improved things considerably with a partnership of 44 in less than 6 overs, but it looked like it wasn't going to be Holland's day when Toby Rowland-Jones got a fingertip to a drive by Cooper to run out Baresi for a well-made 38. When Michael Swart, another Australian, was bang in front to Rayner for 7, the Netherlands were on 78 for 3 off 16 and had it all to do. But then Cooper was joined by Tom de Groot, and they produced a breathtaking partnership to bring their side right back into the game. Cooper, the former Australia under-19 batsman, went to a 50 off 52 balls, but then he really got going, clearly loving this chance to play at the home of cricket. De Groot is a Dutch-born player, and he started to bring back memories of his country's famous 2020 win on this ground over England. His half-century was brought up with a flat 6 as he went to his 50 off only 42 deliveries. With Cooper getting better and better, there was a realisation that we really did have a game on now, going into the last 10 overs, and Middlesex really wanted a wicket. 85 were needed off 9 overs, when that's just what they got, Sterling taking a stinging catch off his own bowling to bring an end to the 4th wicket partnership of 126 made in 16 overs, De Groot was the man out for 58. Boren followed 2 overs later as Sterling struck for a second time, bowling the Dutch skipper for 7. And when Bradley Kruger was outthought by Berg's excellent leg stump Yorker, Holland had slumped to 219 for 6. 68 were needed off 34 balls. That's 2 runs every delivery. But the outstanding Cooper had not given up, moving to a brilliant 100 off 87 balls, his second 50 coming from just 35. However, it was Madassa Bakari who nearly claimed an amazing victory. His side had no real chance when he came to the crease, but he did get 2 runs per ball himself, scoring 36 off just 18 deliveries, as his side nearly produced a dramatic win, in the end failing just 1 short in a nail-biting finale. It was a thrilling game, won by Middlesex by just that 1 run, with Cooper having a day to remember. He hit 126 not out, but was just unable to take his side over the line. Middlesex will now hope to keep up their winning run when they take on Kent at Lord's on Monday.